Tell me a little bit about Jesse. What kind of a person was he?
Well, I can't talk about Jesse without talking about Jesse and my sister. Jesse and my sister met in college at Howard Payne University many years ago. They married. They had two children, two boys, and have always been very religious, caring people who, through their faith, were always committed to helping others. They didn't pick and choose, didn't decide who was worthy. They only tried to help folks that needed help. And I saw many examples of them doing that. Unfortunately, this is how it landed them in this terrible story. But I'm not here to talk about anybody except Jesse and the man that he was, okay?
Got it. Well, then tell me about him. What was it that you liked about him? Was he just an overall happy kind of guy? What did he like to do?
Well, Jesse was a hardworking, clean living, uh, decent man who accomplished many things. And with my sister's support and contribution, they did well. Um, they were big in the church, in the community, known by many, well liked and respected. Jesse's one of those cats that never met a stranger, sort of, if you want to say, because he he even after he retired, he stayed busy. He liked to dabble in real estate, um, so he was always looking for whatever it was. It was kind of comical there in the days when he was retired. First thing he did in the morning was jump on Craigslist to see what's free or what's cheap, what can I pick up, because he liked finding stuff. As I said, he stayed busy just doing things. He and my sister were very simple people that didn't need attention. They just tried to help.
And I know that he and your sister, they tried to help Raul Meza.
For 20 plus years, they tried to help Culpepper. See, it goes way back to the early stages of everything that you and the rest of the media have already reported. And being the people of faith with a strong sense of serving others, that they decided they would try to help him when everybody else was ready to throw him under the bus. There's a lot of things have happened since then and are still coming out right now, but these were just honest, decent Christian people who were trying to help this guy. And I will tell you, as you know, I even have a letter from the man from 2009 in which he thanked me profusely and used all his Christian skills to make me believe that he is a good man. Because from time to time, Jesse would call or contact me and say, "Hey, man, we've got this issue or that issue, and Raul needs a little money so we can try to get him through this or that." And while some folks were not as ready to participate, I thought, well, if they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, I can. Because you have to remember, my sister and Jesse both were the real deal when it comes to living a faithful life and walking the walk, not just talking the talk, going to church. No, these people were committed to their Christian teachings and beliefs. That's what got them into this. Okay.
I was going to say they wanted to help somebody that they thought could use that help and just chose the wrong person.
Well, it was. And it was a con job that lasted many years. And that's really all I want to say about this guy. Okay. My family has experienced this for the first time ever. We've never had anything like this happen before. And for it to happen to a man as decent, as good as Jesse, it's a tragedy on top of a tragedy. Because let me tell you, as I told you earlier, Jesse and Otelia, my sister, had two children, two boys. Jesse Jr. passed a few years back after a long battle with cancer. And tragically, in the fall of 2021, my sister and his remaining son both passed because of COVID, leaving Jesse by himself, alone, without his family, after 50 plus years. So imagine the transition that had to have been for him. And the only other thing about that I want to say is that when this happened, I have to believe that Raul Meza saw an opportunity to move in, essentially, under the auspice of, well, Jesse needs somebody there for him, blah, 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 whatever it is, I don't know. Because what troubles me right now is that Raul Meza is portraying this as a roommate situation. It was anything but. Okay. He was there out of the goodness of Jesse's heart, not knowing the evil that lurks in this person. And Jesse has a niece in Austin, in the Austin area, who I will not tell you who she is, that was troubled about the way things were going. One of the things she shared with me is that Jesse had told Raul Meza that it was time for him to find another place to live. And it concerns me that this might have been the catalyst that led to what we are now living through. Because, like I said, it really bothers me that this man would put it out. At this point, I believe he's going to say and do whatever he thinks he can to try to save himself. It was not a roommate situation. Jesse and Otelia had a beautiful 2-story house that he found himself alone in. The man had to literally learn how to cook and take care of a house, keep up with the finances, do many things that he had always left to my sister. And suddenly he's having to deal with a lot of things. So this person used that to get back into that picture. Okay? It was not a roommate situation. I want to be very clear about that.
I will definitely make sure that we include that, because you saying it's not a roommate situation, that of course is how Meza has portrayed it.
That's a lie. It's a total, complete lie. Okay?
Okay.
And again, I was around my brother-in-law and sister many times through the years for different occasions, different situations. As I said, their only fault was being eager to help anyone. And we're living with that. Okay?
I spoke with Kendra Page's sister earlier today, and I asked her what would she say to the families of Mesa's other victims. And she said that she would just ask them to reach out for help if they need it, if they feel like they cannot get through this heartbreak. She said, reach out to me, come find me, call me, I will be there for you.
Well, that's after what they experienced. But I have also seen that they also expressed that if things had been handled differently a long time ago, another family would not be, not just us, but it sounds like others would be living this nightmare. And I have to agree, especially after the news conference that the police did yesterday. The gentleman who is now an Austin assistant city manager, who was in law enforcement back then, even today, questioning a plea bargain of 30 years after what he did to an 8-year-old girl is beyond the realm of understanding. How this happened, they don't know, we don't know. And it just dredges up a lot of the past. And perhaps for the people that mishandled that situation, I hope they're having a moment. But we've seen other miscarriages of justice in the past that have led to issues for people that didn't deserve to be in this situation. And yet it's happened. So we're relieved that he is incarcerated. We are doing the best we can to begin to put it together. We appreciate friends. I just got off the phone with a dear friend because they're concerned, and they're worried about us. Well, me in this case, but I'm sure that they worry about others because you hear about all this kind of stuff, you read about it, but until it happens to you, you have no idea what it really feels like. I remember the day I was informed of this, I was angry and I was in shock at the same time. Because if you knew Jesse Fraga and the person he was, this is the last thing he deserved. The most awful experience. After losing my sister and his only living son to COVID and finding himself alone and having to adjust and survive, which he did, only to be brutally murdered by this animal. It's very difficult for us to understand or try to process, but we're doing what we have to, and we will.
And Oscar, I know I texted you about this a little earlier, how Austin police had Mesa's DNA from a 2019 or 2020 crime that he had committed. They knew it was his DNA. It had been identified. And yet he wasn't picked up. He wasn't brought in. He was left out on the street.
Well,
what are your feelings about that?
Yeah, you know what? I shared something with you the other day about a change of venue trial that took place here in San Angelo. After a poor guy spent 25 years in jail for a crime he didn't commit, that being killing his wife. And in that situation, which happened in Williamson County, district attorney and a judge did not include evidence that pointed to somebody else. That someone else proceeded to kill another woman. And this poor man spent 25 years in jail because the authorities dropped the ball. So to me, this is not new. This shouldn't have happened, but it does. The criminal justice system in this country, in my opinion, is very, very broken. And I don't know what it's going to take to fix it, but something should really be looked at hard, because this is just another example of things that have happened before, where criminals were allowed to continue to live freely and other people are paying the price.
Oscar, is there anything else about this that you think people need to know or they need to understand?
I just want to say, from things I've already heard, Raul Meza will say and do anything to try to save his own self. So anything he says should be taken very carefully. I've been around this man. I saw the phoniness that we now know was all a lie. And I just want to see this man never be out of a cage, at the very least.